What we need to do is, what I'd like to do is have us switch over to Photoshop Elements real fast, and then I'm going to show you around that workspace a little bit and we'll get started. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you around Photoshop Elements, the editor, really fast. This right here, this whole area right here is called the toolbar. And this is where you get your various tools. This is the type tool, eyedropper tool, shape tool. The move tool is the one you're going to use a lot. The marquee tool, the rectangular marquee, or we can switch that over to the oval, the elliptical marquee. Lasso tool, all that. So these are, you're going to come here to get things that you want to use that are going to help you create your pages. I'm going to click on this folder right here. This is called the photo bin, and it's going to show us all of our open files. And this is the layers palette where we're going to see all of our layers that we're going to and a layer is just each part of your layout, like your paper, your pictures, any embellishments you use. Those are all considered layers. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to File and Open. And what I would like you to do is to go to wherever you saved your kit items for that kit, if you are choosing to do that at this time. I have a folder on my computer called Scrapbooking. So there it is right there. And I'm going to go ahead and open all my things. That is how you would normally do it, which is to just open it there. I have another program I use that I'm going to go ahead and, because it shows me bigger thumbnails, so I'm going to go ahead and pull them out. But you know how to, you can take this time to pull them out using your Finder or your My Computer. And then I'm going to go out and get my pictures because I'd like them in here too. So I have, this should be a little bit easier to find. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on these and click Open. And they should open up for me here in Photoshop Elements while the computer's thinking. There they all are. A couple of these I'm going to close because I know I'm not going to use them. So anyways, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start making our page. So what we're going to do is come up here to File, New, and Blank File. Now this is where you guys decide what size page you want. So I'm going to give my page a title, whatever title you want. Right now this says 12 inches by 12 inches. If you want the 12-inch page, you can definitely do that. I'm going to work in 8.5 by 11, so width of 8.5 and height of 11. Okay, and one thing just to show you, if we come back here, I have this larger page set right here. I have that larger page size. I am going to go ahead and put a picture of this in the comments or the notes of this video so that you can see this if you want to do a 12-inch page. I have some measurements on there that kind of help you if you want to do that larger size. Just because I think it helps to have a visual, because I'm doing an 8.5 by 11 page, so this should help you do a pretty easy conversion of what I'm doing. So let's come back here. So I created my blank canvas, 8.5 by 11 with a white background, and 300 DPI is what I put in those fields. So now what we're going to do, let me change back. I haven't changed the screen back for you guys. There we go. Sorry about that. So now I'm taking this and I'm doing this. I've created this. Let me show you again since we missed it. So I took my pattern paper, my paper here. I've pulled that up on my layout. It came in as a square, so I just pulled on these transformation handles to make sure it fit. Click this green check mark, which is the commit. And so now what I'm doing is I want to create a place to put that half sheet of pattern paper. So I'm using a rectangle. Just drawing a rectangle, renaming it since it's going to be a pattern paper mask. I'm going to force my pattern paper into this rectangle shape. Okay. I'm going to go and click on my photo bin again, and I'm going to pull this up. Now you can see it comes in big, and it's not fitting into that shape like I'd like it to. So I'm just going to make the paper a little larger so it will go to the edges of each page, and then I'm going to hit either my Option key if I'm on a Mac, or if you're on a PC, you're going to hit your Alt key, and you are going to hover it between the pattern paper layer and this layer right here, and you're going to see a square with an arrow. So I'm going to left click, and you can see that I've got this lovely half sheet of pattern paper right here. That's really awesome. So I'm just going to go to the next thing in the next step, which is to bring up this yellow ribbon. And I'm going to zoom in because I can't see from far away what I need to do with that ribbon. I'm going to pull on those transformation handles again, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So it's not in the right place to cover that paper, so what I have to do is come over to the layers palette, move it up, and then boom, it's right on top of that now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to find my little set of three white frames are all in one, move it up to the top of the layer stack, and I'm going to, if you look on the screen now, now I've got a little spinning circle. You can kind of see that you've got a little curvy arrow, 2 arrows on each end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hover it over this corner while it's like that. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and then I'm going to click that green commit arrow, and I'm going to resize my screen just a little, or not my screen, sorry, my cute little picture frame. Okay, then I'm going to create clipping masks to go behind these guys. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the layer just below the frame, and I'm going to grab this rectangular marquee tool. Or no, not that, sorry, I'm going to grab the shape tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little, and I'm going to draw these rectangles. They're going to come in right behind that frame. And I'm going to change the color so it's not, I can see it's kind of competing with that frame, but I'm having a hard time seeing it. So I'm going to change it to the foreground color. And yeah, there. So now I can see there's a little more contrast. So instead of creating another one, I'm going to go behind, and I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt keys and my Shift key, and I'm going to drag with my mouse. That's going to create a second square. Then I'm going to do that again, and it's going to create a third square. So I have my clipping masks for my pictures. So I'm just going to quickly rename these because it gets confusing for me if I see too many shape 1 copies. Okay. And then I also want to work with this focal picture right here. So I really want to get that taken care of right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a clipping mask using the shape tool again for that guy. And you'll notice that the sizes and proportions on this are just going to be a little bit different than, slightly different than what you see in the page that I already made. And that's fine. It doesn't really hurt anything. So I need to fix this just a minute. I'm gonna make this a tiny bit smaller. Just a bit. I'm just gonna mess with it a little. Okay, just a little bit. You always gotta hit that commit key. Okay. I'm going to make this a tiny bit thinner, not too much. And then I'm going to bring up that photo of me standing in front of that mural. And you can see it comes in really, really big. So I am going to clip it into this focal mask, this mask by hitting Alt or Option, and then clicking down with my mouse, and it's forced it in there. So what I do here is I just resize that picture until it's looking more like what I want, and just move it around till it looks about right. Now you can see, because it's against this chevron paper, it is looking a little busy. So I'm going to go in the layer stack just below that and click on the layer just below the mask, the photo mask, and I'm going to click layer. And then I'm going to grab my rectangular marquee. And what I'm going to do is just, you can see these dotted lines that are moving. We call those marching ants. And I'm going to draw a circle around it. I'm going to make sure I have a layer over there for that. You can see I created a new layer. And once I get that square around my picture the way that I like it, I'm going to go up to the menu and hit Edit, Fill Selection, and I'm just going to use the foreground color. I could come and pick white or gray or black or whatever I wanted, but I'm just going to use the foreground color. Something happened. Let me go look. I'm going to unclick this preserve transparency thing because I want a box, because I want it to be able to fill with a color. And it won't, if you don't, it'll just keep it clear. So now what I'm going to do is zoom in, and I'm going to, the borders around this are not even. So I'm just going to use my arrow key, my mouse, use those arrows to kind of resize that box a little bit. Let me see here. It's a little bit squirrely right now. I'm going to zoom in a little and see if I can get it. There we go. That looks much better. And I'm just going to move this box around using my arrow keys on my keyboard in the bottom right corner on my keyboard. And so I've got a mask there, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create like a paper mat. So I need a place to throw that. So what I need to do is go get my paper. I forgot to grab this one. I'm going to grab that. It's right here. I've got the layer selected that I want this piece of paper to go in front of, so I'm just going to pull it up there. It's going to cover everything. It jumped up in the layers, so a couple of levels higher. So I'm just going to click that in now, using Command and G, and you can see I've got this pretty little mask around my papers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to throw in my smaller pictures into my, first what I'm going to do is click on this square right here, because I want to be able to, I want the picture that I'm putting in there to go right above it in the layers palette over there. Okay, I don't know what happened there. It was stuck over there. So now I couldn't see it, so I moved it to the front. So now I'm going to put it right back in front there, and since I don't want it to hang out the sides of my photo mask, I'm going to do Command or Control and click and pop that picture in there. And it fits in perfectly. If I think it looks a little short at the top, so I'm just going to adjust those using those transformation handles. Okay, and I'm going to go back and find my next picture, which is this one. So I'm going to grab that one. I'm going to click on this middle square. And there it went in there. I'm going to clip that one into this other mask. So now, if I want to, I can resize this picture, and it will, as long as it's not too small, you shouldn't see any edges hanging out there. And then I couldn't remember which picture I used. I think it was this one. Oh no, it was this one. So I'm gonna click on this bottom square, this mask I created. Move my picture up there. And this one's coming really big, so I'm going to size it down. And so it is going to pop in there, and I'm going to scroll on the wheel on my mouse and zoom in so I can position that just like I'd like it, so I can see everybody's faces. So I've got my pictures in there. And so let's see what we're doing next. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do now is add in the title. I didn't put this font in the list of things you need to download, because I do believe that it's a default font on a lot of computers. It's called Fatso Normal. So what I'm doing now is I've set the size of this font to 60 points, and then anytime you're looking for a different font, you come down, when you click the type tool, you come down here, it'll show you your list of fonts, and you can scroll up and down in there, but I'm going to stick with Fatso Normal, and I'm going to change the color to black because I really want this to stand out. So I'm going to make a box that's big enough, because this will be quite large. So I'm going to, oh dear, this came in way low, so let me just type in my letters and commit it, and then I'm going to go up to Layer, Arrange, Bring to Front, and that's a really fast way to bring your a layer that's hiding behind others over up to the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this so I don't have to create another one and retype and yada yada so much. So I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key on my Shift key and pull and drag. If you notice, you can see that when you first start to do that, your mouse will have like a double arrow. The one on top is black, the one on the bottom is white. So all I have to do now is click and put the word mob in there. Okay? Okay. Let me see how I've done. Oh, okay. One thing we probably need to do is bring in that little journaling box. So I'm going to just move this up. And this is what happens with me very frequently in scrapbooking. I may make a mistake, or I may think, hey, I need something behind there or whatever. So now what I'm going to do is bring up this little card, this little journaling card that says today's notes. If you can't see it, a lot of times if I put it in the layer stack where I want it and I can't see it, I'll just use my up arrow key to bring it up. And you can see that's coming in pretty big. So I am going to resize this. And what I think I might do with this, with all of this, is I might just size this down a little, as I think it's coming a little bit large. And I need some more room. So I'm just going to move this over. Move this down a wee bit so I can maybe see one or two more lines on that journaling card. Yeah. Good. Then I'm going to take this guy and move it down a little bit. Just a little. I'm going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard to kind of mess with that title until I get it where I want it. Good. And now what I'm going to do is come up here to File and hit Save. And it just, every 5 minutes or so, I think it's a good idea if you save your work. It'll just keep you from being unhappy later if you should lose it. You don't want to lose it. That's all I would say on that, is that you don't want to lose your work. And so I'm just looking at, I'm just kind of reminding myself what I wrote there. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and I zoom in a little bit and I'm going to hit that text key. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that little journaling box in the layer stack, and I'm going to hit new layer because I'm going to create a text tool. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to come back to the option bar where you can, the option bar means the options for the tool you're going to use. And I'm just going to type in that font I had. If you went ahead and did it before, like I said in my other video, find All Right Scrapbooky, and I'm grabbing that. And so and then when you're typing, sometimes you can just make the text box really big, like you can drag the corners down and just make it really big. But if you're typing on a card like this and you want it to look like the words are sitting on the line, I like to just do a copy again by hitting Alt or Option and Shift at the same time. That way you can make it sit right on that line without it look like it's weird or hovering. So anyways, there's my typing. So you see, that's pretty easy. That's not bad at all. And then use this date, this little date stamp. Again, resizing it by grabbing the transform handles. And you just make sure that it's in good proportion. So, and it's not overwhelming what it's in front of. I'm just checking the date. So I'm going to go ahead and get my text tool out again. Whoop, that's a little small. And I'm checking the font size. It still looks a tiny bit small. So we're just going to size up to 14. Okay. And again, it's kind of floating, so I'm going to move it down, and I'm going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard to get that looking right, like somebody hand wrote that in there. And then because I was trying to work with this label, and I was trying to recolor and do some stuff, and it didn't work very well. So what I'm just going to do is I am going to I'm going to get a new layer out, and then I'm going to grab the rectangular marquee tool again, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create my own journaling boxes right here. And then I'm going to go to Edit and Fill Selection, and I'm going to click this white part on this Date tab. I'm going to hit OK, and then it's filled it. I'm going to hit Command or Control and D to get rid of those marching ants. And it's filled it with the exact same color white that's here, so I can go ahead and have it matching. And I'm going to go ahead and make another copy of this guy. Option or Alt and Shift to copy. Okay. And then I'm just going to fill in the journaling using the All Right Scrapbooking kit. This is just being so weird today. All right, so we're going to change the leading to about 11. We'll do that first off. Let's see if that works better. Let's try this out. And I'm going to pull this handle down. Get all the names. Okay, so if I don't like how I think that's okay for now. I could adjust the leading, the spaces between the two lines if I wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and save just to be safe. Now, let's see here. I think we have to add in the flowers. Didn't get up there. Let's try this again. Okay, here it is coming in really big. So I'm just going to eyeball this, and you can see the arrows on those transformation handles are diagonal. I'm just going to size it down. And I'm going to put one up here. Then I'm going to copy, Alt and Shift, and put one down here. And make another copy, and drag one up here. Okay. Then I'm going to take those little word strips. I'm going to try and do this at the top of the layer stack. I don't know if Elements will let me do this, but I'm going to move those over here just for now. Line to front. There we go. Okay, I'm looking at my little sample. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom up. And obviously these are coming in humongous. So I'm going to put them in the order that I want them on my layer stack. This label I'm going to move underneath this bottom flower because I want it to kind of look layered. You can see there's a little bit of a difference there. So I'm going to make these a lot smaller. I'm just going to eyeball it. No special method or science. It's just making them the size that I think looks the best on the layout. These are cute little word strips. So I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger, and I'm going to make this one a little tiny bit smaller. Oh, nope. Don't want it to be wonky. So I'm going to use the arrow keys to nudge these in place because it's easier. With smaller movements, it's just a lot easier to use. And you can see why I wanted this strip behind the flower, because it kind of layers. So I am going to kind of set them close together, and we'll put some shadows behind these in a minute. That will make them look better. This one I don't know. This one, yeah, I think it's this one I need to make a little bit bigger. Okay, Just going to nudge them with the arrow keys. I want them touching or almost touching that little flower. Okay, and this will not look exactly like the way I did it in the first layout, but you know what, that part doesn't matter. So now what we're going to do is grab some leaves. So I'm going to click on this to show you. I like this little leaf element, but it looked funny. I didn't want to put it with the stems behind the flower, so I just want to use part of this guy. So what I'm probably going to do is just use the lasso tool, which is over here underneath the move tool. I'm going to click on it. And this kind of lets you freehand draw where you want your selection to go. So it's kind of swirly, but I'm going to go ahead and draw around my leaf because I just want the leaf and not the stem. I'm going to click down a second time when I'm done. Now I'm going to grab my move tool and I'm going to bring this down onto my page. Okay, I'm going to move it to the front. Same thing, layers, arrange, bring front. And there is my leaf. So what I'm going to do now is I want this to be behind the flower. So I just moved it right below this flower here. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to slide this around, maybe make it a teensy bit smaller, and then I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to do some messing around with it. I'm going to flip it around. So what I did for that was I went to Image, Rotate, and Flip Layer Horizontal. And then I still even did a little bit more moving. Now I'm going to zoom in because I don't want this to look funny. Okay? And I'm just going to arrange those leaves so that it looks like the flowers has a couple little leaves behind it. It's not anything particular, it's just how I want it to look. There we go. And then I'll grab these two together and I'm just going to select both layers and rotate it so that it's like I like it. And then what I'm actually going to do is these two layers are selected. I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit merge layers. Now those two, you don't want to do this unless you're sure you want those two things to be stuck together, because otherwise you'll have to start the process over if you want to separate it out. What this is going to allow me to do is to copy them and I'm going to move them behind this layer now, and I'm going to rotate and manually move it with the move tool. Kind of just mess with it until, because until it looks pleasing to my eye. That's just kind of what I do. It's probably why it takes me a long time to scrapbook compared to other people. Now I'm going to also do this, make a third copy. I'm going to take it down here. Move it below this lower flower. And I'm going to zoom out, take a look, and I think that's looking really, really cute. And we're going to pick drop shadow. And so with this, we're going to just go into this and hit 5, 5, and 40 is what I learned to do. And you can just see that put a very subtle little shadow behind my my the paper mat. So what we're going to do, copy layer style. There it is. So you go to your layer, you right click on it. You want to click somewhere in this blue area and you put copy layer style. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go find every single layer that we want to put a shadow behind. I'm not going to do the photos inside the frame because you won't be able to see it, but we'll click one. Oops. We're going to click command. We'll click command because command will allow us to choose. When we hold down command, we can choose which layers we want to click. We're going to choose the pattern paper mask. We're going to choose the flat ribbon. We're going to choose the journaling card. Okay, just want to, and then we're going to right click again. We're going to click paste layer style. And you can see, maybe, hopefully you can see it just put a little subtle shadow behind that, behind those. We're going to do the same things with our little leaves and flowers. We're going to click those. And right click and click paste layer style. And all of those should have a subtle little, in any place that I missed, I'm just going to go and click paste layer style. All right. Now, since it's just so weird I can't find my layer styles, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the word flash. To make it look a little more realistic, we're just going to lower the opacity to make it look like it's been stamped on the page. Let's see, what was this one? This one was 88, so we'll make that one match for mauve. We'll just manually type in 88. Okay. So you guys, that is the layout. That's the end of the tutorial. If you guys have any questions, you can drop them for me below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just let me know what you thought of the video. Hopefully next time if I do one, there won't be quite so many technical difficulties. All right.